ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהכל נהיה בדברו. לחיים, לחיים, לחיים ולברכה. Good tavach, everybody. Shavua tov, good week. Welcome. We continue in our preparation for Gimel Tammuz with a Maimer Chassidic discourse that the Rebbe said. This discourse was said in 1964. Exactly. 60 years ago. Yeah, exactly 60 years ago. So this is based on what the previous Rebbe had said on Gimel Tammuz, the third day of Tammuz, when he had a commuted sentence, a death sentence to 10 years of harsh labor in Kostroma. So at the train station going to the Gulag, he said, may God be Hashem Elokeinu Yemanu, Asher Ya'im Aveisenu. God be with us as he was with our forebearers. And even though our forebearers had greater self-sacrifice, Hashem be with us. So as we ask the question, he will be, he should be and will be, which is seemingly, opposite ideas. And that he's with us means he's secondary and we're primary. How do we understand that? So we explained is because the primary role is our role. And in that primary role, we ask God to be with us. What's the primary role? And understand is what can we give to God? Right? What is the treasure chest that God fills his storage house with? The treasure that we have is what's called Yireh Shamayim, the fear of heaven. Everything is in the hands of heaven except for the fear of heaven, so the only thing we can give is the fear of heaven. Fear of heaven doesn't mean the fear of punishment. It means that we have a sense of presence of God in our lives. What greater thing can we give to God? Is that. Right? And that's something that God can't give us. It's like in a human relationship, no one can give you a sense of awareness and presence of another. Someone can't give that to you. You have to find it yourself, right? It has to be real for you. Right? If that person is insignificant to you, meaningless to you, they're in the room, no one can give you a sense of their presence unless you recognize it. So all the more so with God. That's his treasure that we give. And therefore we're asking God that he should help with that. Right? He should help with that because, yeah. Now, to go further into why this is something that comes through the person themselves is because yira, this sense of presence, cannot not fear of punishment, is bittul, the self-effacement. And especially when it comes to the king, as it says that we should place a king upon ourselves in order that his fear should be upon ourselves. We have to place it upon ourselves. No one can place it upon ourselves. Now, the fear again here is not the fear of punishment. It's the sense um, um, again, just I want to contrast to make sure we have a clarity over here. To do something out of love is because you sense the other person's value. You sense the bond, and therefore you do it out of love. So it's not really coming from you. It's not really coming from you. You're responding to that individual. So if you love the king, you love the king. So of course, right? You want to do things for the king. But but for the king, what we're talking about over here is the king, he's over you. He's your master. That's what a king is. He's your master. That is so against human nature. We want to be masters of ourselves. We want to be masters of our destiny. We want to control our destiny. We want, right? We're all somewhat control freaks. Why? Because we don't have bittul. So we don't have bittul. Bittul means I give over that control. Bittul means that there's a king over me that I give myself over to. And he's completely in control, right? When he's completely in control, that's when I'm not out of control. I become out of control because I want to have control and I don't give myself over to the king. So that's the bittul that we're talking about over here, the self-effacement. That can only come from the person. Now, the king can force you to do work, but he can't force you to willingly give yourself over to him. Can you willingly give yourself over? Only we could give ourselves willingly over to the king. That he's my master, only willingly that um, I desire that, want that, to willingly give myself over. Not out of a fear, because out of fear for punishment, fear of retribution, fear of consequence. No, we're not talking about that. That can, that comes from above, meaning that's a result of the king. Yeah. It's got the sword against me, so I've got fear. but willingly to give myself that he's my master and I'm here to serve, only from the individual. That's bittul betachlis. That's complete self-effacement. Again, we all want to be free. We all want to be free to do as we wish. Right. But that's what we're talking about, that kind of divine service. Now, we can continue and add this to this rather, to Mesiras Nefesh, self-sacrifice. That self-sacrifice is also a bittul of the individual, especially when the self-sacrifice is when, according to law, you're not obliged to give yourself over, to sacrifice and put your life on the line. Right. Which most definitely this is also a complete bittul. Right? That the person, right? So this is not something forced upon. It comes from the individual. Now we can understand more what the request is of the previous Rebbe, 1927. He's standing at the train station, going into exile, right? And he's making a request, a prayer that was based on a verse that says, by the way, that verse we always say every day on page 71 in prayer is the second paragraph. Just pay attention for today in our prayers. Okay. That Hashem should be with us as he was with our forebearers. There he's speaking about Mesiras Nefesh, self-sacrifice, because what's happening. He put his life on the line in a way that he wasn't obligated, according to law, obligated to make underground schools and mikvahs and places of learning. No, not obligated to that when you have the communists running after you and wanting to kill you. Where'd that come from? It came from himself. Right? This Mesiras Nefesh, self-sacrifice, ready to put your life on the line. And what he's asking is that we need help from above to help us not in the choice was made, right? But that God should be with us. God can't make that choice. Only we can make that choice. How's he help? So that's a good question. I'm not clear, and maybe that's where the mind was going to go. And what does that mean? Does it mean in success? Right? There's two possibilities that I see, at least, that in your self-sacrifice, that it should be successful, right? That he's going to be able to accomplish that what he's sacrificing to do, right? To make sure that Jewish children are still able to learn secretively underground, right? Couldn't have a yeshiva, you couldn't have a Jewish school under the communists, right? A mikveh that should still, uh, a woman could use in ritual purity, that should still be functioning. It's also all right. So the success in that, that, but also, I guess to in our I don't, maybe it's in our sacrifice also that it should be complete and full. In other words, decision we make, I guess all the tools that we need, maybe that's also what it means. I'm not certain. It's a good question. But anyways, we're gonna have to continue our conversation. Okay, we'll see you soon. Thank you for joining. Have a great